Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Algorithm Minds. My name is Hassan Khurram and in this channel I teach programming skills in Python, MATLAB and R programming. I also teach theoretical concept as well as practical programming skills in data analysis, data science. So I request you to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell icon button. So I have been posting a series of tutorial videos regarding R programming. My tutorial videos are specifically designed for those people who are quite new to R programming and who wants to learn R programming from scratch. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to give you an introduction to ggplot2 in R programming. So what is exactly a ggplot2? ggplot2 is a powerful data visualization package in R developed by Hadley Wickham. It is based on the grammar of graphic concept, which allows users to construct plot by combining different elements such as the data, the aesthetic, which defines how the data would be mapped to your plot, and then the geometric objects, which will define what kind of plot actually want to generate in your figure. This approach provides a flexible and intuitive way to create complex visualization with relatively simple code. So in order to play around with ggplot2, you first have to actually install the package in your R environment. It is quite simple to do. You have to just uncomment this statement, install .packages, and within those round brackets you will pass the package name, which is ggplot2. Once you have installed that package in your R environment, we are good to go. So first of all, we are going to load important libraries in our R environment. The first library we are going to import is ggplot2, and the second important library is IR display that will actually help us to display those plots in Jupyter Notebook environment or its output. Then there is an optional statement where we actually define the width and height of each plot. Let me run this block of code for you. Now the data we are going to use is actually a pre-built data or predefined data in our environment, which is called iris data set. Okay, so for those of you who don't have an idea about iris data set, basically it contains some length element of 3 specific categories of flowers. Okay, so let's move on and actually plot our first plot in our library, our programming language. The first function we are going to use is called ggplot, that initializes a ggplot object and function. It specifies the data set and the aesthetic mapping using AES function. So we will write ggplot, and within those round brackets we will first define the data set we are going to use. In that case it is an iris data set. Then we will define AES. Here we are defining AES, which is the aesthetic mapping. It helps the visualization to understand what kind of data you want to plot on x-axis and what kind of data you want to plot on y-axis. So in the data iris we have sepal.length, which is mapped to x-axis, and then we have y is equal to sepal.width, which is mapped to y-axis by the use of this aesthetic mapping. After we have done that, now we are going to create a layer, a geometry layer, that will actually help us or help the plot to understand what kind of plot we are actually looking for, whether you are looking for geometric scatter plot, whether you are looking for line plot. In our case we are looking for geometric plot or scatter plots. For this scatter plot we are going to use this layer here, geom_plot. So let me just run this block of code for you. Now you can see that we have actually plotted the scatter plot. Now let's move on and actually customize that plot with a number of things. So we can customize the aesthetics of our plot, such as color, shape, sizes, to convey more information. So the first change I have actually did with this with the previous code is that I have in the static mapping I have also defined that color should be equal to species. This will help us to plot a data set with different colors. For example, if for a specific set of rows the category is Sitosa, okay, and for that specific thing we will have a red color. Okay, so it will distinguish the data point based on color. So, and the second important change I have done is actually I have defined size is equal to 3 within the layer geom point. that sets the size of the point to 3. So initially you see that the data points were quite small. Now we have changed its size equal to 3. So we are going to use the same notation of R programming. We will write ggplot, and within the ggplot we will define two things. First is the data and the second is the aesthetic. So data is equal to arrays and the aesthetic will define the mapping of x-axis, y-axis along with the color of species. Okay, so color is equal to species. Once we done that, we are going to define additional layer where we define the geometry. In our case, we want to plot scatter plot. Each scatter point will have a size equal to 3. Then we are going to define an additional layer which is called labs. Lab stands for labels, and it is used to add descriptive titles and label to the point. So how you can actually define titles and labels? Simply you are going to write title is equal to, then define the title of the plot. And the same way you can define the x and y axis label by writing x is equal to whatever the syntax you want to display on x-axis and whatever the syntax you want to display on y-axis. Then we have theme minimalistic or theme minimal, that changes the plot theme to minimalistic style. Let me just run this block of code for you. Now you can see that we have actually a more elaborative and informative chart as compared to our first chart, where each data point is distributed according to color for the respective category. Now let's move on and actually add an additional layer to our plot, such as lines, smooth curves, or annotations. So we can actually use this layer geom smooth, where method is equal to lm, s is equal to false, that adds a linear regression line to the plot without confidence interval. Other elements such as label and theme remain the same as according to the previous example. So ggplot this ggplot function and the data that is defined and input argument that has been defined within those ggplot remains the same. We have geom plot that plots the scatter plot. Then we will define an additional layer geom smooth, and method is equal to lm for linear regression, and se is equal to false, that is without confidence interval. And then we will add an additional layer of labs and theme minimalistic. And let me just run this block of code for you. Now you can see that it has plotted linear regression line for each individual category. That's good. Now suppose if you want to save the plot, it's quite easy to do. You are going to use this function ggsave, and you are going to pass a number of input arguments. The first input argument is array scatter plot. Then plot is equal to last plot, which actually help our programming understand that whatever the plot was generated in last time, it will be saved. And then we have like width and height, that defines the width and height of the figure that you want to save. Now let's move on and actually discuss about how we can actually plot a histogram in our programming. And it is quite simple to do. We will follow the same notation. We will write ggplot, and then we will define the data, which is iris. Then we will define the aesthetic, which in our case will be the mapping of two x-axis. As it's a histogram, so we are only interested in one measurement variable here. So x is equal to sepal length is the aesthetic defined. Then we are going to define the geometry. As you recall that in previous case we have used geom point, but right now we are more interested in plotting a histogram. So for the geometry will be used is called geom histogram, and we are passing number of input argument. The first input argument is the bin width, which is 0.3, which defines the intervals of those bar charts or bin intervals. Then we define the color of those bar chart, and then define the color of the boundary or the edge, which is black. Okay, and the rest of the code will remain same. Approximately, the title and x and y axis will change, and the rest will remain same. So that's how you actually plot a histogram. Once we plot a histogram, let's move on and actually plot the box plot, where we actually plot the box plot. Okay, and in order to do that, we are going to first call the function ggplot. We will first define the data. For aesthetic, we will have x-axis, which is the species category, and then we have y-axis, which is the sepal.length, and we want to fill it with according to species. It is just as same as you have defined in the previous scatter plot, where you fill the color with spaces. Once we have done that, now we are going to call the geometry geom underscore box plot. This will help us visualize the box plot. Then we define the labels and finally theme minimalistic, theme minimal. Let me run this block of code for you. Now you can see that we have actually plotted the box plot for 3 different categories of flower and their sweeper length on y-axis. Let's move on and actually plot a violin plot. A violin plot is similar to a box plot but shows the density of data at different values. So it shows how many the relative density of how many data points are there at a specific value for a particular category. So we are going to use the same notation as we have used for box plot. I mean ggplot data is equal to iris. Then we define the aesthetic where x is equal to species, y is equal to sepal length, and fill is equal to species. Then we are going to define the geometry, which in our case is equal to geom violin, where we set input parameter trim is equal to false, which will show the density, which will plot violin plot without trimming the tails. Then we will define labels with theme minimal. Let me run this code for you. So we have plotted our violin plot, and that's it for this tutorial. I hope this tutorial have been helpful to you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section. I will be happy to help you out. I will be soon posting more videos regarding some more fundamental concepts such as regression analysis in R, and later on I will do a thorough and comprehensive data analysis case study in R programming. So I suggest you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell icon button. Thank you for joining me, and I will soon catch you in the next video.